The one objection to this movie, not objection, because I think Lana Turner is an essential part of it, because she adds the glamour and all the things that this movie requires. But I think she's a tad old for this part. I wish she could have done this part, you know, maybe 10 years before, because she seemed to me a bit old to be a starlet, kind of starting out or even trying to start out on films.
Right. Well, I think it's, you know, when you think of an ingenue, you think of someone in a very specific age bracket. But it works so well for Lana Turner in the middle and the end of the movie.
Perfect.
Which also the end is brought into the beginning when the three of them walk into that office. So I think she adds that weight and gravitas to the group, which is so important. But when you flash back in her sequence and you go back to, you know, her starting out, her struggles, I love the scene where she sabotages herself by drinking the night before she's supposed to start the film. All the sort of young stubbornness seems like that of a younger woman, and certainly someone who is, you know, a brand new starlet starting out in Hollywood seems like a certain age. So I understand why you're saying that.
But you can't play them all. I mean, you're not, it's very difficult to play that big of a span by the same person.
I think it wouldn't have worked later in that office if it was a young girl. But I know exactly what you're talking about. I happen to love Walter Pidgeon, you know, takes each character and says, now I know Kirk Douglas completely screwed you over, screwed your life up, you know, is a despicable person who you clearly want nothing to do with. You know, I know he ruined your life, but isn't your life actually the best version of what it could be?
Because of him.
And that the seed of that is because of Kirk Douglas's character. So I loved that complexity. And at the end of the movie, the last shot, when they pick up the phone, you know, to listen to him talking to Walter Pidgeon in the other room, and they're all in shadow until they pick up the phone and come into their light by listening on the phone. And I thought that was a really cool way of lighting the metaphor of these people are still intrigued by this man. These people, you know, come into a light when they come into his presence. They're in the darkness without him. I don't know if that's what Vincent Minnelli was trying to tell me or meant to say. I don't mean to say what he was trying to say, but I took that from it and I loved it.
Yes, absolutely. So we move on. And I hope you'll join us next week for another edition of The Essentials. Here's a preview. It Happened One Night, 1934. This is a film that really caught everybody by surprise.
This film was made right before the Hollywood Production Code was enforced, so it has a certain freedom.
Talk about chemistry. Claudette Colbert and Clark Gable really have it in this movie.
This film is really just such smart storytelling.
From 1934, It Happened One Night. That's next Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern. You can find out more at tcm.com. Thanks for joining us for The Essentials.
Tonight on Turner Classic Movies, Walter Pidgeon takes up sculpting as part of his Design for Scandal. Then Walter adores Greer Garson, that Forsyte woman. And Luke Miranda is shady in Shoot First, Die Later.
Gregory